Hi, everyone. My name is Chris. I'm a knowledge architect at Amazon Alexa. I am responsible primarily for our ongoing relationship with Wikidata and Wikipedia, and servicing Wikipedia and Wikidata content on Amazon Alexa through voice interactions. So today I'm going to be talking about knowledge quality in Wikidata, something that we have been working on for some time now. And Amazon is, I'll just give you a little bit of background about our organization and why it's relevant to Wikidata specifically. So I work in Alexa Knowledge. Alexa more generally is a cloud-based service that powers devices in the Echo family. We work to always get Alexa to improve. She's always getting smarter with more features and better natural language understanding. Alexa Knowledge specifically, though, focuses on factual question and answering. Questions like, Alexa, who's the Prime Minister of Canada? Alexa, what's the capital of Germany? Alexa, who won the Ravens game last night for the NFL in the United States? So part of that means that we need to get the best sources for factual information, right? Alexa needs to be powered by a number of different data providers, Wikidata and Wikipedia included. And we collaborate primarily with Wikidata and Wikipedia to enable voice access of community-driven content on our devices. So our team works to enable that content, structure that content in a way that's understandable and readable, as well as something that's pretty exciting for our customers to interact with, right? We want to be able to delight our customers. We want to be able to share this information with our customers, and we want to be able to share knowledge with the community through new ways. So one area our team specifically has been working on lately is vandalism detection and characterization. Being able to spot and identify vandalism and incorrect data helps build and maintain trust with our community, on the same way that it helps build and maintain trust with the community in general for detection on Wikidata. So we try our best to collaborate. We want to be able to improve the information in general, right, on both Alexa devices and on Wikidata. So one way we do that is through data donations to help train the ORACE models for Wikidata and Wikipedia. We also try to make publicly available vandalism trends and insights data, something that we're currently working towards. And then we also do this via donations to the Wikimedia Foundation annually, conference sponsorship, voice attribution, and screen device promotions. So we currently attribute information from Wikidata and Wikipedia on device, primarily snippet information, so longer form text. And then we also do screen device promotions during certain areas of the year when Wiki is seeking donations. We have a certain interface that allows people to donate via our screen devices specifically. So the first component of our collaboration is data donations. So we provide data donations of graded edits and instances of observed vandalism over time. This is primarily to help train ORACE models and improve rule-based models. In the last 2 years, our donations have totaled over 20,000 graded edits and uncaught vandalism instances across several languages in both Wikidata and Wikipedia. Primarily, we try our best to focus on languages that are typically underserved in their labeling campaigns, to try and better those models and identify inaccuracies and instances of vandalism when they occur. Continuing this collaboration in the future will hopefully provide better models for the future of free and open community-driven content for both Wikidata and Wikipedia, and then by proxy, Amazon Alexa, so that we're able to surface the best information from these corpuses in a way that builds trust between Alexa, the community in general, and then folks that are users of our devices. So just some general insights on vandalism. We have a larger data set that currently I'm working on to try and publish on Wikidata and Wikipedia. But just some general insights that we've noticed. Vandalism occurs in Wikidata far less frequently than in other Wikimedia projects. bots in general. We attribute this to bots as a widely used editing tool in Wikidata versus Wikipedia. And we also noticed that they lead to far more cases of good faith vandalism on Wikidata than on Wikipedia in general. We also noticed that because of this, negative training data in Wikidata is far harder to obtain through annotations alone. So one way we're trying to remedy this is when we're detecting cases of vandalism that occur in Wikidata or Wikipedia, logging those and building them into larger data sets so that when we share information with Wikidata and Wikipedia, we have more cases to build better models. So you can see some of our insights below. One thing that I noticed, at least when I was looking and doing research on Aureus and vandalism in general, is that there's a lot of inconsistencies between sources. A lot of folks either try and use automated rule-based systems to try and find instances of vandalism, or the data is just very out of date. So this data itself is from 2019. We're working on a 2021 set right now, but you can see that in Wikidata, the vandalism rate is far lower in general. There's also far more edits. The community makeup is also far different than other Wikipedia projects and Wikimedia projects. And you can see that, yeah, there's a lot of bot edits versus registered user edits and community-driven edits in English Wikipedia and German Wikipedia. So something that we noticed was that anonymous users vandalize wiki projects at a far greater rate, but make up a far smaller portion of the Wikidata editor community in general. Wikidata also has far more instances, as I mentioned before, of good faith vandalism than Wikipedia, and a quicker response time due to edit volume and frequency. Relative to other Wikimedia projects too, Wikidata also has a pretty high labeling campaign completion rate, at least in the data that we had available. But in general, as I said before, a lot of the information was relatively outdated. So being able to provide data donations in the future at a continuous cadence will help train these models to new information as it comes in and the ever-changing corpuses of Wikidata and Wikipedia in general. You can also see some of our notes. One thing that I actually didn't include in this page was the bot vandalism rate, and that's mainly because a lot of the vandalism rates for bots specifically are good faith edits, and that's something that requires a little bit of a different data set to dig into. So you can also just tell from the data in general, anonymous users do vandalize at a far greater rate. That's something that we take into consideration. And then just in general, when you're looking at vandalism, being able to try and understand and improve based on typical profiles of vandalism cases is something that at least we're looking into to try and better identify vandalism and correct it more quickly. So what's next for us? We want to be able to share statistics and metrics on vandalism over time and by new data cuts and expand that to new corpuses through Wikidata and Wikipedia specifically. We want to be able to share a lot of the information that we've been able to glean on what the typical instance of vandalism looks like and cases of vandalism that we isolate and we see to try and build better data sets on vandalism and non-vandalized edits in general. We want to do this to be able to benchmark models to evaluate the impact of new training data and to look at least if we're hosting different models, what the best distributions of training data look like and what a normal distribution looks like. Then we also want to supply additional training data specific to underserved languages to Wikidata and Wikipedia. And we want to do this because, one, we want to be supportive of a major data partner of ours, and second, we also generally do care about the accuracy and the quality of data for the community in general, right? We want to make sure that information is widely shared and it's able to reach users in the community to build trust and to inform the world. So that's sort of my general presentation on things that we've done so far and things that we're hoping to build towards. If folks have some questions, feel free to ask. I'm here for questions about Amazon and Alexa and our relationship with the community.
Thank you, Chris. And please, guys, feel free to open the mic if you want to ask any question. I can read them too. Min asked if is that like white hat hacking?
I'm not sure I'm familiar with that term, or I'm necessarily best suited to answer that. I can bring that back to the team potentially and respond at a later date.
Okay, maybe Min wants to explain his question, maybe.
Oh, good faith vandalism.
And
Yeah.
when he is deciding if he wants to come or not, I read the Patrick question. That is, what is your planned date to make vandalism data available?
Sure. So we're working on new data sets now. Our relative timeline will likely be in early 2022 when we're able to create robust sets for a lot of the more major languages that Wikipedia is launched in. Because we want to be able to push data for Wikipedia and Wikidata all at the same time to just avoid incongruities in our donations. So that's something that we're hopefully planning to make available early next year.
Ian, I don't know if it's Ian or John, but he's saying that this might be too tangential, so feel free to skip this question. But are you eager to get access to the Wikimedia Enterprise API?
That's something that we've certainly considered. It's something that I think we need to better evaluate to see if it's good for our information in general. But it's also something that is exciting, right? There's a lot of tooling and a lot of potential for the Enterprise API. It's just a matter of us, I think, taking the time to evaluate it and see if it's something that could better suit our customers and better suit our needs.
Jarmo said, could it be that you change data in good faith, in quotes, but it goes wrong according to others? When an error becomes vandalism?
I'm not sure. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I needed to take a couple seconds to process that. Yeah, so a good faith edit, right, could happen when a new user is just unfamiliar with some of the rules around the community around editing. So either there are incongruities with the way that the edit is made that lead to labeling it as vandalism, or it's just something that doesn't belong on the page, right? Irrelevant information, or something that that just results either due to unfamiliarity, or there's information that's being placed where it shouldn't be, but not with malicious intent specifically. We try to follow to a T when we're labeling vandalism as best we can to the definitions laid out by Wikidata and Wikipedia, just because we want to be true to the community as much as possible. So looking at edits that were made in good faith, typically at least what we see is it's newer community members or it's information that's irrelevant but not explicitly malicious.
Oh, the correct name is Yarmo. I am sorry for mispronouncing. And does anyone have another question? We still have a couple of minutes.
One thing, I don't see any other questions, but folks can ask. Oh, I see one.
You can read it for yourself if you prefer.
Spoken Alexa context. There are quite a few. I think one of the most interesting cases we see pretty frequently are from pages that don't receive a lot of traffic, but they sometimes have interesting, almost like they're not like incredibly offensive cases of vandalism, but they are entertaining and incorrect. Local mayors for small towns are one of the most frequent cases of vandalism that we see. So someone will put like a celebrity as a mayor, and usually we're able to catch these and correct these very quickly. But if that's read out on Alexa, that can be entertaining at times. But it's something that we do try and remedy, so folks are able to get accurate information and not something that's incorrect and hyperbolic. One other thing, actually, we've noticed is the time it takes, right, to correct vandalism, because the community in general is really phenomenal. I've been working with Wikidata and Wikipedia for about 3 years now, and the community is really good at correcting vandalism and getting on top of incorrect information really, really quickly. So that's something that we've noticed. I didn't include it in the data set here, but it will be included in the eventual data set, where looking at the time between edits and the time between corrective edits is definitely more prominent in a lot of the more common corpuses, right? Where you have more editors in general to look at pages, you have more editors in general to look at information. And so looking at that, it's reassuring to me that the community is able to like continually work on and build these pages out and build information in an effective way. And that's something that I'd never seen before. And that was something that really surprised and actually delighted me. Am I able to detect advanced or smart vandalism? I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that, or is there a follow-up there? I'm not exactly sure the definition of advanced or smart vandalism.
I think that maybe what Patrick may mean is that some word tricks, like in some languages that mean double things, I read that way. People who actively train machine learning systems to avoid detection, so it's not what I understood.
Yeah, I don't know if we differentiate between that. I'd have to ask the team. But cases where, as Lydia said, if there's like changing in a digit in a year, right, or adding like a death date in, right, an early death date where the person's still alive, things like that are obviously a lot harder to detect. The other thing is, like, this isn't necessarily as clear cut for vandalism cases, but folks can change the phrasing in a sentence to make it imply something completely different, at least in English. I'm unfortunately not multilingual. I took Spanish in high school, but that's gotten away from me at this point. But we do have a lot of language experts, right? I'm not the one specifically digging into German vandalism cases, but we have language experts that are really, really good at digging into cases of ambiguity at Alexa, that are kind enough to have taken time to help us with our data donations. So at least in my conversations with some of the heads of those teams, they're able to identify cases like that. But there are difficult cases, right? There are cases that you really can't identify unless you have contextual knowledge, and that's sometimes difficult to project and difficult to identify for people who are either explicitly unfamiliar with the corpus that you're looking at, or they're unfamiliar with the language and some of the nuances.
So we have a couple of more minutes. Nina asked the question, are there languages where you find it difficult to find language experts to identify its valid uses?
I'm not entirely sure. My my area of expertise is not not hiring, but we certainly do have experts in most languages. Amazon is a global company, but Alexa's relatively relatively small and more focused. But we're always looking to have people collaborate and build, especially with some of our skills in new languages and languages that that don't receive as much attention.
Adele shared that there are a lot of vandalism in Arabic language.
Yeah, we actually noticed the same thing last year in some of our data sets for particularly for non Latinized alphabets, right? It's a little harder because just the languages are so different that and the communities are smaller, so that there's just not enough time or enough eyes to look at a lot of the content, which just makes it difficult, right? But in in the eyes of trying to be equitable, it's really hard to distribute resources. At least I'm sure in the communities, right, where you're able to correct vandalism in a more efficient context.
Yes. So I think we can wrap up this. Thank you so much for your presentation and for answering the questions. It was really inspiring and exciting for me. Do you want to say anything else?
No, thank you, everyone. Folks who are part of the community, and I've been part of the community for a long time now, even before I worked at Amazon. They are really driving the value of this content for everyone everywhere, and the amount of time that people spend on editing and dedicating their time to building a better Wikipedia and Wikidata is incredible. And so thank you, everyone, for taking the time to listen to at least my small portion of what I've done.
Thank you.